Is atheism actually wrong? Now, I suppose that would require you to actually know what atheism is, and the religious, unfortunately, they don't seem to, do they? But, what else is new, right? So here we go again, down the irrationality rabbit hole, because, really, where else would we go around here? It isn't like there are any intelligent religious apologists on the planet. If there were, they wouldn't be religious in the first place, would they? We're back once again with the Let Us Talk podcast, although this is really more a matter of a talk given by someone who has no idea what public speaking is all about, and who also wouldn't know reality if it bit them in the ass. It really seems to be a pretty common thing for the religious, doesn't it? That's kind of why they're such a problem to deal with. Their grasp on the real world is tenuous at best. So let's see if it gets any better. Don't hold your breath.
And last but not the least, if you read the Holy Quran can also change you as an individual.
Not necessarily in a good way, though. I mean, any book can change you as an individual. It doesn't have to be a religious book. Harry Potter changed the lives of a lot of people who read it. So did Mein Kampf. So did every religious book ever produced throughout history. Some people say that L. Ron Hubbard's Dianetics changed the way they look at the world too. Big deal. Just because it changes your life, that doesn't mean that it should. It doesn't mean that that book is worth changing your life over. This is really why people need to be intelligent about what they allow into their heads and what they allow to influence their thinking. Otherwise, you'll wind up with craziness, and I think the Quran certainly qualifies in that regard. How many people have become suicide bombers after reading and believing the Quran, compared to, say, how many people have done the same thing after reading The God Delusion? There's just no comparison. The real question is not, can this change your life? The question is, should it change your life? And when it comes to religion, that answer is universally no.
So, these books and these preachings are much better than being a nihilistic person.
No, not remotely true. Now, I'm not a fan of nihilism, don't get me wrong, but at least nihilists can be rational, unlike the religious who simply are not. This brings us right back to the difference between a rational person and one who, like the religious, are simply rationalizing their beliefs for emotional reasons. A rational person, by definition, operates in accordance to reason, logic, and critical thinking. We care if the things that we accept into our heads are supported by objective evidence. People who are rationalizing, they do not. They begin with an emotionally comforting belief, reached for no intellectual reason whatsoever. Then they desperately try to loop every conversation back around to that conclusion because that's where they have to wind up for emotional reasons. They aren't concerned about truth. They are only concerned with comfort. Their own comfort. They don't care about anything else. It's really where fanaticism comes from. Trust me, there are more than enough fanatics in the world already. Let's not create any more of them.
Okay, if you are in a team, alright, if you are in a bus, alright, there's a time bomb, alright? So, one person is atheist, one person is a atheist and nihilistic person, one person is a Christian, one person is a Muslim, one person is a Hindu.
So let me get this straight. An atheist, a Muslim, and a Hindu get on a bus. Yeah, I'm hoping there's a punchline in there somewhere, but you notice that he separated the atheist from the atheist who is a nihilist. So he clearly understands that they're not exactly the same thing, but I'm sure he's going to pretend that they are when it becomes necessary for his example. That's something else that we also see among the religious far too often. They have a propensity to run around with the goalposts whenever it's convenient for their beliefs. But reality doesn't actually work that way. You don't get to cherry pick your data points whenever you want to make an emotionally comforting point. The truth is what the truth is, no matter how it makes you feel. You can't arbitrarily decide the force of gravity on a daily basis depending on what makes you happy. It is what it is, and you have to deal with it no matter how you feel. And that's why the religious are just so bad at all of this. They just don't comprehend the real world.
Cool. Now they say, jump from this time bomb will only stop if you guys can be together and be agreeing with each other.
What in the hell does that have to do with anything? No terrorist is going to say, well, I'm not going to kill you if you all just sit together and sing Kumbaya. The only one who would actually come up with anything that goofy is a theist, which is kind of handy because the overwhelming majority of terrorists are religious. It's kind of funny how that works, isn't it?
So the first task this terrorist gave to them is that be humble to each other and be hopeful. Now the Muslim guy will say, all right, I can be a friends with a Hindu guy for one day. A guy with Christian will say, okay, I can be friends with them. Hindu guy will say, I can be friends with both of them. And Buddhist will say, all right, I will be friends with all three of them. No problem.
Yeah, that's why the religious are constantly murdering each other, right? Let's not go look at the rates of religiously motivated murders, okay? Because holy crap, there are a lot of them. And it isn't only Muslims that do it. It's Christians and Hindus and Buddhists and just about every religious group out there. I mean, maybe we can make an exception for the Jains, but that's about it. The Jews are doing it. You name it, they're all guilty. That's exactly what happens when you have an irrational belief that some emotionally comforting idea must be true, and anyone who doesn't agree, they're the enemy, and you gotta get rid of them. It reminds me of a recent story out of Canada where some Muslim Looney Tune was pushing the idea that anybody who's not a Muslim, you get to give them 3 days to change their mind, and then you get to murder them. Fuck the Muslims! You know, the only one who doesn't do any of this stupid crap? Atheists! Because we have no religiously motivated beliefs to which we are emotionally attached. We'd be trying to defuse the bomb while everybody else was trying to off each other. Let's be honest, that's exactly what would happen in this ridiculous scenario.
Now this nihilistic guy will say, okay, probably say, I am with them, but I'm not gonna support them, so I'm gonna be like a person like, oh yeah, okay, I agree, but I'm just here only for the taken.
Which has nothing at all to do with atheism. I had to go back and look to make sure I wasn't listening to a different podcast. Nope, this one is called Why It Is Wrong to Be an Atheist. And now he's not even talking about atheism. Now that's really not a surprise when you think about it, because the religious, they don't tend to have a clue what atheism even is. They think atheism is just another religion filled with blind faith and emotional beliefs, and that doesn't describe us at all. I hate to keep saying this, but we are not like you. We have no faith. We have no faith at all. We have no beliefs. We are just looking at the crazy things that you are spouting, and we're saying that makes no sense at all. Yet the religious cannot accept that anyone is actually evaluating their faith fairly and intellectually, so they have to turn us into a competing religion instead of admitting that they've purposely inserted bullshit into their heads. How absurd is that?
So, would you like a person who is just coming to your dinner, just being your friend only for the take ins, not giving you anything out of it? Like, I don't want anything from my friendships, but I also don't like to give friends everything that they want. I mean, I will love to give them what I desire to give them, what they probably want.
Wait a minute. Wasn't this a terrorist bomb on a bus, and the only way to get out of it alive was to pretend to be friends? He's moved the goalposts once again, mostly because I don't think he even remembers the scenario that he set up. Who was it on this bus again? I bet you he has no clue. This isn't just an organizational problem, though. He simply doesn't care. He's just throwing out anything that he thinks will appeal to his audience. It doesn't have to make any sense. It doesn't have to be coherent. It just has to serve its purpose for the moment before the whole audience forgets about it too. This is why having a discussion with the religious doesn't get you anywhere useful, because they are not concerned with truth. They just want to slap as many emotionally comforting diatribes on the wall as they can, and if some of them happen to stick, well, they're satisfied. What exactly is wrong with these people?
But if they ask and want, then bro, I'm not a shopping fucking mart. I mean, you know me.
What does that even mean? Those were some words, but I have no idea what any of it actually said. Now, I can maybe attribute it to the fact that this guy is clearly not a primary English speaker, and that's perfectly fine. We all do what we have to do. But why are you giving this talk in a language that you're obviously not very good at? I mean, come on, you've got to do better than that.
So it's a very nihilistic thought. The thought of atheist is nihilistic in its essence.
Yeah, you keep saying that, but you can't actually demonstrate it in any realistic way. We return to the eternal problem that these people spend all of their time talking about atheism without ever stopping to talk with atheists. They don't have a clue about us, nor do they care. They are speaking to people who are every bit as clueless as they are. Who needs facts when you just have to push a narrative on a bunch of idiots in the audience? It's really like watching someone trying to explain mathematics to a bunch of 2-year-olds when they've got no idea what math is to begin with. Well, yes, 2 plus 2 equals a chocolate cake because everybody likes chocolate cake. Yeah, now who wants milk and cookies?
Atheist people are also those people who are very oversmart and overconfident. Like they say, we are the smart people. Okay.
Yeah, like that's a bad thing. This is absurdly common among the religious. They are terrified of intelligence. Why? Because they don't use any of it. The simple fact is, according to every statistic out there, we are smarter than they are. We are better educated than they are. We know more about their own religions than they do. And that's why we don't believe any of it, because we know for a fact that it's all complete bullshit. But they don't care. This isn't about getting to the demonstrable truth because they're just not that interested. It's about maintaining an emotionally comforting blind faith that has nothing at all to do with reality because they just want to feel good, even if the shit that they believe is complete and utter garbage. How sad is that?
You are smart per se, but okay. You say this that these Quran and Bible are just bunch of books which have no consequence at all.
No consequence at all. And yes, that's largely what we're saying. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't read any book out there and get something out of it. You can get life lessons from Harry Potter, and lots of people have. But at the end of the day, Harry Potter is still just make-believe, just like your holy books are. We're not saying you can't find something in there that you might find useful. If you do, great, fantastic, knock yourself out. That's entirely up to you. We're just saying that the whole of the content of these silly books is not demonstrably and objectively true. We're saying that when you step back from your book and you look at the objective evidence, the things that you cling to cannot be supported intellectually. And that's why you're afraid of intellect. That's why they hate intelligence, because intelligence says that their emotional beliefs are crap. Because they are.
All right, I get that. I definitely get that. Good, you are totally true. But if you're saying that is wrong, which has been, okay, atheist is a fairly new idea.
That's not remotely true. Atheism has been around since the very first proto-human. If you want to be really broad about it, the very first particle of matter in the universe, it was atheist. It had no God beliefs. Atheism is a hell of a lot older than your religion. It's a hell of a lot older than any religion. Absolutely everyone that has ever lived was born an atheist. Even you. It is the absolute default state. How in the world is it that you don't understand that? How are you that delusional? What the fuck is wrong with you?
Rest of them are ages ago. Like ages fucking ago. Like Hinduism is beyond fucking time, I think so. It's like whoa. It's, and even before.
You don't even know anything about your own religion. Hinduism dates back about 4,000 years. Atheism, taken in its broadest sense, dates back 13.8 billion years. Even if you want to limit that to humans, humans have been around between 6 million and 200,000 years, depending on how specific you want to be. We predate everything that you believe. We predate you 1,000 times over. What the hell are you smoking?
And Bible is like from BC. Oh, sorry, like after BC it started.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter how long it's been around. It matters if it's actually demonstrably true. Lots and lots and lots and lots of people thought the sun went around the earth. In fact, they've believed that for longer than we've actually accepted the reality of what's going on. And they were simply wrong. Lots of people believe the earth is flat. Some still do. They're still wrong. How strongly you believe a thing or how long that thing has been believed, that has nothing at all to do with whether or not that thing is actually real. The only thing that matters is whether or not those beliefs are factually true, and whether you like it or not, you've got no evidence of any kind that the beliefs that you hold are. Think about it. I mean, honestly, just think.
And the 10 commitments and all, I mean, that's crazy long time, man. I mean, BC is before Christ, I know, so.
You know, it just occurred to me for some weird reason, but it's funny that he's using the Christian calendar when Hindus do have their own calendar that's still used to this day to signify religious celebration. The Panchanga is still out there. So why is he not referring to it? Oh, right, it's because he's a fill-in-the-blank theist, picking and choosing whatever he likes to make a mishmash religion. Truth just doesn't make a damn bit of difference, does it?
Not BC. Hinduism is Hindu books, textbooks like Bhagavad Gita and stuff are BC. But yeah, it's fairly old thought. And atheist is a fairly new thought. And this new thought can bring suffering.
I'm going to let it go right there because this is getting a little long. But let's think about that thought for a moment because clearly it's just not true. Now, we can look at how many deaths have been caused specifically in the name of religion versus caused specifically in the name of atheism, and religion has atheism outnumbered 1,000,000,000 to 1. We can go back to the Hindu flood myth, which popped up in the 6th century BCE, where the first man, conveniently named Manu, was warned of the approaching apocalypse and told to build a giant boat before the rest of humanity was wiped out. Now, of course, this is a nonsensical story. It never really happened, just like all religious flood myths are, but it shows just how cheap the religious have always considered life. India has a long history of Hindus looting and destroying the temples of Buddhists and Jains and killing their people, and other religions, they're not innocent of that either. And the Muslims, well, they did that to the Hindus, such as the 8th century Martland Sun Temple in Kashmir, which was destroyed by the Delhi Sultanate's armies for heresy, etc., 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 etc. You don't find that among atheists, though. It just doesn't happen. But they don't want to bring that up because that's an inconvenient truth. Anyhow, what do you think? This guy has literally been all over the place, and nothing he said has made much sense, both because he's clearly easily distracted, and he obviously doesn't have a clue. We've got one more video of this coming up next week. Let me know what you think. Do you think he's going to save it in the end, or do you think this is just going to be more proof that the religious have absolutely no idea what the hell they're talking about? Make your predictions below, and we'll see who's actually right.
Boom, dicky, 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 boom.